I've been bringing my kids here for all these years. I've been coming here for 30 years now. Well, since I first moved here. This is June 2011. I don't remember the exact month, but it was around this time of year when I first came here, maybe a little bit earlier than this. Came in here in 1981. I'm 49 now. I was 19 when I first came here 30 years ago. Same year that I quit drinking and all that other stuff. And this place here had a lot to do in shaping me. I've never seen this much water here before. The last couple years there's been a lot of water here, but not quite this much. My kids know this area, all these hills and creeks in here really well. We've spent maybe just a day in here, or sometimes a lot longer, camping. It's always a special place for us. I was in charge of security here for a while and was in charge of taking care of all the women and the children in the camp in case we were attacked. So I had to know this area pretty good. This is my favorite place in the world. There's no other place on earth that means as much to me as this place. I think more Indian people need to come out here and make use of this, and Washunia, or what they call a wind cave. All these places around here. This spring, my kids and I have been going to every site in the spring pilgrimage according to the stars, constellations, the way Tankashala instructed us thousands of years ago. We still got one on the summer solstice, is the only one that's left. We just recently went to Peshla. We've been to all of them. My kids have been learning about that, and me too, because I heard about it before. I never did it. This is the first year that I went and visited all of these sacred sites here in the Black Hills. During the Yellow Thunder Camp trials in the federal court, where it didn't really belong because it's an international issue, but during those trials we brought in this old Al-Qaeda with a star chart that matched up with the Earth map here in the Black Hills, and so-called non-Indian experts were trying to say that we only came here right before the white people, and that Lakotas weren't in the Black Hills until sometime around the middle 1700s, and they had an expert study that star chart, and he said that chart had to have been made over 3,000 years ago, and then he explained how the stars move every, 70 or 72 years and everything, and he said that there's no way that a person could just guess, especially a primitive person, he said, or just luck out and create a map just like that precise. There was no mistake, no errors in it. And of course they didn't want to hear that. And then we talked about emerging from Wind Cave, and they brought an expert in from the Forest Service who said there's no evidence in any cave here in the Black Hills of people being there, or humans and bison thousands of years ago coming from the below ground out through this cave opening around Washunia, where the earth breathes, Wind Cave. But then years later I ended up working for a short time at Wind Cave, and I was told by this guy who did a lot of the maps for that cave system underground and probably knows that cave system better than anyone alive, and he told me about a cavern inside that cave that people don't go to, where there were ancient petrified bison bones and things like that. He said you could hardly walk around in that particular cavern because of those. And then I asked him to show me. I was working there, and we should have just been able to go whenever we wanted to, because we're both employees of Wind Cave National Park, as they call it. But then the cave boss started questioning him, wanted to know how come he wanted to take me down there, and he said that he wanted to show me that that room with all the petrified bones in it. And the guy said, well, just wait. He said, I'll get back to you. And it took about 3 weeks, and when we went down in the cave that night, when they finally let me go down there, you could see marks where someone had swept the place with a broom. Every single bone was removed. The Americans are scared to death to admit that this is where the Lakota Oyate originated. And they don't want anything more than what we already obviously have to prove our link to this land. They try to erase the entire red race altogether, try to erase all of our leaders, and even in modern times, anybody who stands up, anyone who figures out their game and calls them on it, then that person disappears or gets erased one way or another. But I guess if the people aren't smart enough, or strong enough as a whole to respect a place like this, or to even respect their own identity, then maybe it doesn't matter. One way or the other, though, Yellow Thunder Camp proved a lot of things, whether people recognize it or not. And it taught a lot of really valuable lessons, whether people catch on to all of them or not. This is a sacred place. It'll always be a beautiful place and a special memory to everyone who was involved with this camp.